The Galactic Academy xenobiology classroom fell silent as something small and wounded dragged itself through the atmospheric barrier. Professor Raza looked up from his holographic display of cellular structures, his dark eyes immediately focusing on the creature that had interrupted his lecture. It was a Valdari cub, no larger than a house cat but covered in the distinctive silver-blue fur that marked its species as one of the galaxy's most feared predators. Blood matted its left flank where something had torn through fur and flesh, and its amber eyes held the wild desperation of a cornered animal. The other students, a mix of various species from across the galaxy, instinctively moved away from their desks. Even wounded, a Valdari was dangerous. Their adult forms stood nearly 3 meters tall, with razor-sharp claws and teeth designed to tear through starship hull plating. This cub might be small, but its species' reputation for violence preceded it. "Nobody move," whispered Carix, a crystalline being whose homeworld had been ravaged by Valdari raiders centuries ago. "Call security." But Raza was already moving. The human professor set down his stylus and approached the injured cub slowly, his movements deliberate and non-threatening. The creature's ears flattened against its skull, and it bared tiny but wickedly sharp teeth. "Easy there, little one," Raza murmured in the universal tongue, then switched to what sounded like guttural growls and clicks, the Valdari language. The cub's ears twitched in surprise. Naz, Raza's research assistant and the only other human in the room, watched from her position near the supply cabinet. She had seen her colleague work with dangerous specimens before, but never anything like this. The Valdari were not just predators. They were the galaxy's bogeymen, the species that parents used to frighten children into behaving. "Professor," she said quietly, "security protocols require—" "Security protocols can wait," Raza replied, never taking his eyes off the cub. He crouched down, making himself smaller, less threatening. The wounded creature trembled, its breathing shallow and rapid. The cub tried to back away but stumbled, crying out in a sound that was part growl, part whimper. Dark blood pooled beneath it on the pristine classroom floor. Without hesitation, Raza removed his jacket and moved closer. The cub snapped at him, its teeth barely missing his fingers, but he didn't flinch. Instead, he began making soft clicking sounds, a parent's call in Valdari culture, something most beings in the galaxy didn't even know existed. "What is he doing?" hissed a Centauri student, its 4 eyes wide with terror. Naz moved to the supply cabinet and quietly retrieved the emergency medical kit. She had worked with Raza long enough to understand his approach to frightened animals, regardless of species. "He's saving a life," she said simply. The cub's resistance weakened as blood loss took its toll. When Raza finally placed his jacket gently over its small form, it didn't fight. Instead, it looked up at him with those amber eyes, and something passed between human and predator. An understanding that transcended species barriers. "Naz, I need antiseptic and synthetic skin grafts," Raza said calmly, lifting the cub with practiced ease. The creature was surprisingly light, its fierce reputation belied by its fragile state. As Naz handed him the medical supplies, the classroom door burst open. Security guards rushed in, followed by something that made the students' earlier fear seem insignificant. 3 adult Valdari warriors filled the doorway, their massive forms bristling with barely contained violence. Their leader, a scarred female with 1 missing eye, scanned the room until her gaze fixed on Raza, who was carefully cleaning the cub's wound. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. These were not academy visitors or diplomats. These were hunters, and they had come for their young. "Step away from the cub, human," the leader growled, her voice like grinding metal. Raza looked up, his hands still gentle on the wounded creature. "She needs medical attention. The wound is deep but not fatal if treated properly. That is not your concern." "Any injured creature is my concern," Raza replied, carefully applying the synthetic skin graft. The cub had fallen unconscious, its small chest rising and falling steadily. "I'm a xenobiologist. Preserving life is what I do." The Valdari warriors exchanged glances. Their species valued strength above all else, viewing any weakness as a death sentence. A wounded cub would normally be abandoned, left to survive or perish according to the harsh laws of their people. "Why?" the leader asked, genuine confusion in her voice. Raza finished bandaging the cub and looked up at the towering predators. "Because she's just a child, and children deserve a chance to grow up, regardless of what species they belong to." The silence stretched on for what felt like an eternity. Then something unprecedented happened. The lead warrior slowly lowered herself to one knee. The others followed suit, their heads bowed in a gesture of respect so profound that several students gasped audibly. "We misjudged your species, human," the leader said quietly. "We thought you weak because you show mercy. We did not understand that mercy requires the greatest strength of all." Raza gently transferred the sleeping cub to its pack leader's arms. "She should rest for several days. Keep the wound clean and dry. If there are any complications, we will return," the warrior promised, "and we will remember this day." As the Valdari warriors departed with their wounded young, the classroom remained silent. Finally, Carrick spoke, its crystalline voice trembling with awe. "Professor, do you realize what just happened? The Valdari have never shown submission to any species. Ever." Raza returned to his desk and picked up his stylus, as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. "I bandaged a wound, nothing more." But Naz understood. She had witnessed something that would ripple through galactic politics for generations to come. A human had shown compassion to the galaxy's most feared predators, and in doing so had earned their respect. That night, as word of the incident spread throughout the academy and beyond, a new chapter in human-alien relations began. The species that had been dismissed as weak and emotional had demonstrated a strength that even the mighty Valdari could recognize and honor. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a small Valdari cub slept peacefully, her wound healing, carrying within her the memory of gentle hands and a soft voice that had chosen compassion over fear.